Welcome to Racquets Biz, the only podcast that delivers data-driven insights into today's rackets industry. New clubs are opening consistently in the United States and all over the world. Some make it, some go out of business quickly. As an investor and facility operator, what is it that you need to know to create constant cash flow and consistent long-term ROI? Join me for today's episode. Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Dominique Lemperle. Today's guest is Martina Kochli. Born and raised in Slovenia, Martina's passion for sports took her across the world when she was recruited to play D1 college tennis in Houston, Texas. Following her collegiate career, she met her husband Andrew and embraced the life of a proud military spouse. Martina started playing pickleball and was ranked number 15 in the country before expanding into coaching, business, and brand development. She became the co-founder and former CEO of My Pickleball Coach app and worked as the head pickleball professional at Fisher Island Club in Miami. Currently, Martina serves as the Director of National Partnerships and Sponsorships for Dill Dinkers, while also leading strategic partnerships for Pickleball 360 and Pickleball Getaways. She and her husband are also regional developers for Dill Dinkers and live with their 3 children in Tampa, Florida. Welcome, Martina.
Hi, Dominique. Thank you so much for having me. Super excited to be here.
Pleasure seeing you again. Tell me a little bit about how you grew up in Slovenia, what racket sports you started playing, and what motivated you to become a businesswoman.
That's a deep question. Yes. I born and raised in Ljubljana, Slovenia, small country, but very sport dominant country. I was drawn to tennis at a young age, 4 or 5 probably. So I would play with my wooden racket, following, my brother and my dad played a lot of tennis. But overall, we always sort of cross-trained, and I think that helped me develop into a better tennis player. So we would do anything from ice skating, skiing, even conditioning as a hockey player for a hot minute, just to be more, balanced, have better agility on a tennis court. But yes, then it came the time to, friends got recruited to some of the universities in the United States and thought it was a great opportunity. So started talking to a recruiter and had an opportunity to grab one of those scholarships and went to Texas to play.
Excellent. Well, we're glad to have you here, Martina. And we met each other on the court a few years ago. And you were top 15 in the country, so you know what life is like on the pro tour as a pickleball player. Can you give us an overview of what it's like right now to be a pro pickleball player? I remember when the MLP and the PPA merged, these huge salaries were thrown out to pro players to get them to join their tours. What is it like now? Is being a pro pickleball player a sustainable career, or do you have to have 2 jobs to make it?
Yes, it was much different when I got started. So I got introduced to pickleball about late 2017, jumped straight in, and I think pro pickleball is just much different back then, meaning technology was different, paddles were different, balls were different. The way the game is played right now is just such high level. And yes, a very talented either athlete, they come from volleyball, soccer, or racket sports, have some advantages, and quickly can improve their rating, and it kind of jumped into a higher level play. But back then, it was sort of, I mean, it's still a wild, wild west, but we were thinking, great, we'll play some pickleball. There was not a lot of, let's go do some, lessons, run clinics. At least I wasn't there. Later on, I would say in 2020, that I kind of saw more and more pros would run clinics or would do like a camp, like 3-day camp, or just started doing lessons. So that itself, I thought it was a great opportunity for someone who back then there was no money on tour. Much smaller money to be made, but now obviously even in the last 2 years, and then when the war started, of the tours, that was a complete kind of flip, what I've experienced. And I thought it was a good opportunity for the players and some of the players that have not established themselves on a tour to sort of belong to, an organization, even though I think there was a struggle with organizations, just because, I mean, that's how it is when the sport is growing so rapidly, that I think it's inevitable that that's going to happen. Now I believe that things have kind of calmed down and we have a more clear path. I mean, more or less, we have APP Tour, we have MLP, PPA. They sort of work well together. And then there's some international tours in Asia. So, but as far as to answer your question about making, a living as a pro pickleball player, I think, it's getting there. I don't think it's there yet as far as potentially top 5, top 10 have opportunity to only play pickleball, and who have taken advantage from either sponsorships or endorsements that, either with an agent or without an agent, had an opportunity to jump in, just being exposed to more. Top 5, top 10, I would say. But the rest, I believe that there's still a big gap where players do have to still teach on a side. Most of them, I believe, would teach or do clinics at certain facilities, or they partner with a facility, which overall is bringing the level of pickleball play up, because you have this incredible pro that it's currently on tour and is growing the sport either locally or, let's say, they're connected to a facility. But it's not that easy just yet to be only a pro player. So some of those players are exhausted. A lot of them are, because they go from a tournament to a tournament. And then in the meantime, they're still trying to teach, or they have other obligations that either it's on the behalf of MLP team, or or they have a family. It's just, there's a lot. So I applaud them how the players are making things happen.
Yes, so do I. The game has changed, as you said. It's incredibly fast with the paddles, the balls. Yeah, we were competitive then, maybe not anymore. Definitely not me. The game is way too fast for me now. I'm happy to play at my 5.0 level, and but yeah, it's unbelievable how the game has developed in terms of speed. Now you are now a regional developer for Dill Dinkers. Dill Dinkers is a franchise of indoor facilities, and currently they have 21 facilities open all around the country.
Yes.
You're a regional developer for Tampa and Lakeland. How many facilities do you plan to launch in that area?
So our plan is to launch 20 facilities, just in Tampa and Lakeland. And I know that might seem like a lot, but the plan is to sort of place them. And like I said, we're looking on a weekly basis where, if there's an open vacant spot or if something comes up on a market that we can refurbish and just turn around and make it into a pickleball facility and place them between 20 and 30 minutes apart. So it's very accessible to, if you belong to one, you belong to all. That's sort of our business strategy.
Yeah. So, and how do you currently assess the indoor pickleball industry? I mean, some facilities make it, some don't. What sets Dill Dinkers apart from the other facilities?
So yes, that was hard so I'm in Tampa, and it was probably a year ago that a beautiful facility closed down that you were a part of. And I'm so
Yes.
sorry. It was so hard because it sort of hurt the industry. When a facility closes, it hurts us all. It's not just, we're competitors, but at the same time, we want to coexist and I believe in co-petition. It just really comes down to rent or lease, and the utilization of your courts. So if the numbers don't make sense, that's the number one differentiator with the Dill Dinkers is the number don't make sense. We don't jump in. So the corporate is not going to jeopardize on the behalf of the franchisee and put them in a bad lease. Just because they want to open another facility. And I think that's, I believe this to the core. If you are just trying to fill up your courts in order to pay rent, it's going to be really hard to sustain. So the numbers have to be making sense. And we're just very conservative when it comes to, finding a good lease, or finding good demographics. So if demographics don't make sense, also that is going to be one of the cues that we are not going to, not going to try to dig in more and try to get into that facility. We are going to be looking for more. And that is why it's taking a little longer in Tampa and Lakeland. Because if we don't find, I found a couple great spaces, but the numbers did not make sense. And it was just across the board from our incredible, co-founder and our franchising guru, Ben Latalian and Will Richards, that it was just, it's not going to make sense. You're not going to be making money. You don't want to be closing next year. So let's move on. Let's keep looking.
Yes.
So.
You're also very involved with Pickleball Getaways and Pickleball 360. You've been involved with them for several years. Coaching, apps, and travel businesses are thriving right now in the pickleball industry. Tell us a little bit about the kind of growth you've seen over the last few years.
Yes. So what we experience is the sport is obviously evolving. The paddle industry itself has tremendously improved. Some would say for the better, some for the worst. The technology played a big role into pushing the sport forward, just in the aspect of improving the game. So what the game looked like when you and I were playing, it was just much slower. There was a lot of, more finesse involved, where now there's paddles just create more power, and there's going to be faster and younger players that will, continue to win, or just evolve the sport. It's just different. But yes, what I've seen, it's just a lot. So sport has improved, the game has improved. So when people play better pickleball, they have more fun, they will be more involved, and they will spend more money on pickleball. Either that is traveling to tournaments, playing tournaments, or buying more equipment, or either companies celebrating their corporate event at the as a group, instead of going to a bar and spending $5,000 at the bar, they want to do a little corporate gathering and bring in pickleball. So I actually experienced this multiple times where pickleball would be a part of the offering if there was a business opportunity of some sort that a company would set up at the convention center. But overall, I think because of this, I think there's more pickleball players worldwide now, and they're looking for more opportunities. Either that is travel. I know that there's pickleball on cruise ships. Or either they want to jet off somewhere and take a pickleball camp, go on a trip with their friends, play pickleball.
What kind of trips are the most popular ones? Let's say the top 3 most successful trips for pickleball getaways right now.
So I think it's going to be Costa Rica for us, and Mexico, super popular, easy access, all-inclusive resort, great courts, good food, lots of options. And potentially I would say either Antigua or Turks and Caicos. So we have a lot of options. It's just like I said, depends on what you want. But then there's also overseas trips when there's a little less pickleball, a little more sightseeing. And then at the end, I also encouraged Deco and Ben to create a trip in Slovenia and Croatia. So I will be there next year again. It's just fantastic that it's expanding into European market, because we know that right now Asia is exploding. But to see, you can play pickleball, explore, and also grow the sport internationally. That's a win-win.
And the coaching app, Pickleball 360, what sets that app apart from other apps? And would you say it's more advantageous to use that over a real coach, or do you still need a real coach?
That's a great question. Well, you still need a real coach, because you can use Pickleball 360 is a premier instructional videos that were created by Ben Johns, Colin Johns, and Deco Barr. And they are, I would say, they are developing the sport based on the new technology that's coming out, from mechanics to shot selection strategy and whatnot. So the platform has actually been around for quite a while, but it hasn't really been marketed till recently. And now we are just trying to get a lot of eyeballs on a product, having people understand that this exists. It is very, I would say, it is not lengthy. So when Colin is teaching about a certain shot, the video is going to be between 4 and 6 minutes. And he breaks down exactly what he's teaching. Now you can take these teachings and now take them to your club or your facility, where you are still going to need a coach to work with you on these teachings, because it's going to be really hard for you to take. I mean, you can go on YouTube and find all sorts of resources. There's great, pros that are loading content there. The difference here is that this content's very organized, where Colin hand-selected videos providing an sort of an incremental improvement path for a player. So this is for a player that it's new to pickleball, to beginner. and they don't know where to start. Or if it's someone from, I'm a beginner and I'd like to get to an intermediate, how to get from a 3.0 to a 3.5. So it gives you a roadmap, what you should be working on. And not a lot of players don't know, oh, maybe I should be working on a transition zone, and not, they might be just focusing on dinking. But how are you going to get from the baseline to the kitchen line? There is a transition zone. So certain things like this that the boys decided to point a player into the right direction, how they can improve chronologically and stay on task and not to get confused, because there's so much out there. But it's a very helpful resource to use.
Yes. Yeah, there's so much out there, as you mentioned, on YouTube, and it's important to have the right kind of coaching as opposed to what anybody who plays pickleball might say on YouTube.
Yeah.
Creating partnerships and sponsorships is one of your specialties. What existing partnerships and sponsorships do you have going at Dill Dinkers, and what's coming up in the pipeline?
Okay. Yes, I'm very excited about creating partnerships and, collaborating with different brands in the pickleball space. So for Dill Dinkers right now, I help with running global ambassadors, which actually I'm one of the global ambassadors for Dill Dinkers, as well as Colin Johns and Caitlin Kerr, so the pickleball chick. So we are the 3 ambassadors for Dill Dinkers. And on the other hand, we also have a partnership with Texas Rangers, the MLP team. So that has been amazing, as well as companies like Pickleball Central. Those are our partners. They run our pro shop. That has been super helpful. But in the future, right now, and I'm sorry, I forgot. The latest and greatest, the nonprofit US Senior Pickleball. So we have partnered with them, and that's going to be amazing, because we are trying to, focus on healthy brain, healthy aging, and just overall helping with seniors also have accessibility to our facility and play pickleball. But yes, in the future, we have a couple of Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies that we're working on. Those are in the pipeline, so hopefully we'll be announcing them soon. But we just believe with across the board as a franchise, the Dill Dinkers has, almost 400 franchising agreements signed, and the opportunity of having 15,000 members, over 200,000 pickleball courts. There's a great opportunity for companies to get some brand visibility. So the future is bright. We're excited. I mean, right now with, like you mentioned, 21 open facilities. By the end of 2026, we should have about 50 open. So we're in a good track, but trying to be conservative, opening slowly, and create partnerships along the way that see the value of why being involved with Dill Dinkers.
Sure. Now, as we know, right now the pickleball or the rackets industry in America is booming. New facilities are opening almost every day. Some only have pickleball, some have paddle, some have a mixture of both. Some also have wellness. I may be jumping ahead here a little bit, but is this something that Dill Dinkers would consider adding other sports, or are you guys solely focused on pickleball?
So that's a good question, because right now we are only focusing on pickleball because we're trying to make sure that, court utilization is really important when it comes to our business model. So court utilization and programming, that's what is the big difference with many other franchises out there, or facilities. But there is one facility that it's in Pennsylvania, because it was just such an incredible opportunity with low rent, and a lot of they actually had additional space that they are looking into padel courts. So it's a possibility, but actively we are not trying to. Let me put it this way. You know how like Chick-fil-A only has, they're known for, chicken sandwich and their waffle fries. And every once in a while they introduce something else and they kind of try or being seasonal, but the staple or the originals, it's what people go there for. They know what they're getting, they know the quality. And I think this is kind of like what we're trying to achieve, where we know our lane and we don't want to, add on additional things that are not going to serve us, because we believe that the core player for pickleball is looking for, facility that has good visibility, that has sufficient space around to play, good fencing, good net, good colors on the wall. So these are the things that the core player is looking for. If they have a great experience on a court, then that's what we're going to focus on. And we're
That
not trying to become experts in another sport. But if I'm looking at other clubs or country clubs around United States, the shift, from maybe when you and I were tennis players, there was a director of tennis, but now you have director of rackets, because if you as a club are not, you don't have multiple racket sports available, you're sort of falling behind. So I have a
yes.
lot of those conversations, and I understand, it's ran differently than our franchise, the Dill Dinkers, that only focuses on incredible pickleball experience.
Sure, sure. That makes sense what you're saying. You want to give the people what they're comfortable with and be very good at that. Maybe peek into the different industry and see how that's going, but you focus on your bread and butter there at Dill Dinkers. That makes
Yes.
sense. Now it seems to me that you're doing it all. You have a happy family, 3 children of different ages, some teenagers, some very young. You're also killing it in your career. I mean, you're constantly exploring new avenues to be successful. Tell us, how do you do it all?
Oh man. Well, first of all, I think I have a very supportive husband. My husband's like, very supportive and kind of keeps everyone in check. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't think I would be able to do it all if it wouldn't be for him. And, throughout, I think, military career, he kind of understood that, we moved a lot, we moved around, and I was never the one to sit still. So he always encouraged when he noticed something makes me happy. So when I picked up pickleball in Colorado, when we lived in Colorado, he just kind of instantly knew, okay, happy wife, happy life. This is great. That it kind of evolved, and he always supported it. So I think that is the first reason why I can, why I can do many things at once. And just there's a lot of multitasking with kids. But even prior to, 3 kids playing on tour, life was different. There was one professional tournament a month. There wasn't a tournament back to back where we traveled and then we came home and we trained and we were with, you were home with your family. But now I think for myself, it's just kind of not possible, where I have a high schooler on a travel lacrosse team, then I have a 10-year-old who's into baseball, and then our 2-year-old who's, just cheering everyone on, happy to be here. So it's just, yeah, life's different, but trying to, have something for myself and that I enjoy, that I love. And yeah, growing pickleball has been amazing. Just being a part of it and seeing it where it's gotten, now from when I first entered the space. It's been awesome, and I can only imagine where it's going. So I feel I'd like to be a part, and I try to find myself to be I try to be very organized and very efficient with my day so I can squeeze in everything, and sometimes even play pickleball. I got to play
Right.
pickleball this last Tuesday for the grand opening in Satellite Beach, and had an opportunity to partner up with Ivan Linda, so that was super special. So then, moments like this, I'm like, I'm gonna make everything happen. Let me try.
Yes. That's
Yes.
amazing, Martina. And your happiness shines through, and it's amazing what you're doing. Thank you for your insights today. If somebody wants to reach out and become a potential partner or franchise holder with Dill Dinkers, how can they reach out?
They can reach out through LinkedIn. So you'll find me under Martina Kochli, or just martina.kochli@gmail.com.
Excellent.
And maybe I can add on the mkochli@dilldinkers.com. If someone is looking into franchising, we are expanding.
Excellent. Lakeland and Tampa area, Martina is your woman to contact.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Martina. Is there anything else you'd like to tell our listeners before we go?
Thank you so much for having me, for giving me an opportunity on your platform. And congratulations again on Fisher Island position. I think they are going to be so happy with you, and you're going to love Miami. So I'm
Yes.
happy for you.
Thanks, Martina. And we will do a reunion at Fisher Island very soon. I cannot wait.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for joining us today, and we will see you next week on Racquets Biz. Don't miss the next episode, and subscribe to Racquets Biz on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Like us on LinkedIn and Instagram. See you next week.